Poison Ivy, issue 30, G.
Mhm.
Willow Wilson writing with Marcio Takara on the art. Take it away, Matt.
Yeah, so this is done in a flipbook style. So you read the first half, and it's done from whatever Pam's up to on her way back from dealing with the gardener, to when you get to the middle, you flip it over and you read it from the other direction, and it's about Janet from HR and her dealing with the being Pam's sidekick essentially. So I'll go at it in the way that I read it, which was Pam first, right? And that Pam doesn't know where she stands in all of this because of the Woodrow of it all and the gardener. She doesn't want to be this messiah figure because she's a mess in and of herself. And as she's trying to get back, to Janet and the swamp and Croc to figure all that other stuff, the Gray calls out to her. And it's this big hulking mass of a creature just like standing over her, kind of like that cosmic horror clown from Nightwing. And she tries to run from it, and it picks her up, and as she gets close, she realizes like it's communicating her, but not like telepathically. She almost can like feel it in her like not in her bones, but like across her skin, and it's essentially speaking to her like how mushrooms and fungus communicate, because this is the avatar of the Gray. And basically it tells her that you're the key to all of this, is that a long time ago the Green and the Gray had this truce, and in this truce we would take over the planet, and but then humans came up, and the Green decided that it was going to domesticate humans, and in that it thought it would conquer the humans, but the humans conquered the Green. And because it broke that truce by trying to domesticate the humans, the Gray now wants to get that balance back, because only living in harmony with the Gray, the Green, and the humans will Pam find peace for the Earth. And that because she got caught up in all the Lamia and Woodrow, she is the key to all of this. And she's like, well, how am I going to talk with the Green? The Green hate me, like they don't like what I stand for. And it's like, well, that's just because you scare them, because you're bigger than them, right? The fact that you can connect to humans, she's like, humans don't like me either, like look at Janet. And this will come later, but Janet just hangs out with me because I made her life a mess, and I owe it to her. But the avatar of the game is named Xylon, and Xylon's like, look, you just need to believe in yourself. This is not this is your big moment. You were resurrected for a reason. You were given all of this ability, and when you're on the right path, I will speak out to you again. But you need to investigate that town. The town has a lot of the answers that you seek, because that's where your friends are. And so she starts coming through the trees, and out through the trees comes Janet. So then you flip it over and you start with Janet, in that she's in bed with Croc. She kind of freaks out for they're kind of becoming an item, but not really. But she's more upset with Pam because she feels that Pam just uses her, right? It's like, Janet's just there to be the person to clean up the mess, right? To be that person that she sleeps with when she's, bored or feeling lonely, and that she has more of a cause to this. And she feels like if she can figure out what's going on with this town, she can get back to her life. So she starts going around, and she ends up in the library, and she starts looking for newspapers or a bulletin board, and she finds what looks like the last newspaper that was published. And it was published on April 7th, 1958. And then it looks like something happened and everybody moved out en masse. And as she's putting this all together, she feels like she's being watched, and she looks around, and there's it looks like eyes coming out, like painted onto the wall, but they look like they're a part of the wall, like not that they were placed there. And she freaks out because it's this monster that she has seen, that Pam went looking around, and that's where she starts to feel like, Pam could be a better friend to me. I do all this stuff for her, and I get nothing in return, but my life is made a mess. So she starts calling out for Pam as she runs into the woods, and the lady of the bog, who was that avatar of the green that spoke to Ivy as she was going through to get to Seattle, and tells her like, hey, we want you to spy on Ivy for us, right? We don't trust that she's doing what's right for the green, and that she, the parliament has decided that she needs to work for us, and if she's working against us, that's bad for everybody. So they give her this acorn that she is supposed to speak into, so they can spy on Ivy. And Janet's like, we get her inner monologue that she doesn't want to do that. Like, yeah, Pam could be a bad friend, but she feels like there's something here, right? Like there's something that's not worth trusting. And if this is around the same part where you'd heard about the green on the other story, the Pam story, about the green domesticating humans. So it's almost like the green's trying to use this human again to gain the upper hand. And she keeps going through the forest, and that's where she runs into Pam, and then the book flips. And so this is that flip point, right? So what Wilson's done here is a really fun, like, yes, it's a flip book style, so it's kind of two stories in one, but they mirror each other. So it's both of Janet and Pam, wondering where they stand in this world and what their value is to one another. And both being told by these entities that they serve a bigger purpose. Now, which one can be trusted? Because it also feels like the Gray is playing its own game here, that now that it has this avatar, which it never really had, right? So in that story of the Gray, Xylon's been the avatar forever, because it's almost as if these funguses it doesn't live and die like trees in the green does, right? It's just this constant state of transformation. And it's almost looking like the Gray wants an avatar out on, in the world. Whereas the green is seeming like it wants to stifle that from happening, right? So it doesn't seem like either can be trusted, and it's going to be Ivy and Janet and, Croc and maybe Harley, finding out whatever happened in this little town in the swamp that's going to reset the balance of everything. So a real fun concept for a story. Takara's art, as always, is fantastic. When we get the big Xylon, the Gray avatar, it's all done in shadow with these red eyes, and it makes it very creepy. And it's just, its presence overtakes everything with Pam. And on the opposite side, when we get the Venus of the Bog, it's done in a similar style, but she's about the same size as Janet, right? So, and there's these yellow eyes. So it still takes up the page, but not as much. So again, there's a lot of mirroring being done here throughout both stories. And yeah, I didn't realize this was the flip book until I was reading it. I read it digitally. And so when we got to the page, it had to flip it over. My iPad wasn't ready for the turnaround, so I had to lock the screen before realizing, digital means you're just going to get the next half, right?
Yes.
To read, right? So yeah, so I had to deal with that. So that was a fun little, discovery as I was going. But yeah, really good stuff still with Ivy, and making Janet more of a character and less of a sidekick, as Wilson's been doing, is always good. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Well, okay. High praise.